being 5:30, I'll declare Devonport City Council meeting open for the 22nd of July 2024. Thank you for those in attendance. Devonport City Council acknowledges and pays respects to the Palawa Pakana people as the traditional and original owners of Lutruwita and continuing custodians of this land on which we gather. We also acknowledge and pay our respects to the Tasmanian Aboriginal elders past and present. All persons in attendance are advised that it is council policy to record council meetings in accordance with council's digital recording policy. The digital recording of this meeting will be made available to the public on council's website for a minimum period of 6 months. The meeting will also be live streamed on council's YouTube channel. I have a wonderful forecast of my councillors. Thank you so much for being here tonight. So no apologies. Any declarations of interest, please?
Yes, Mayor, you do.
Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor. I will be declaring an interest in agenda item 4.1. I'm known to the developer and was heavily involved in the initial stages of this development, and will be stepping out of this.
Thank you. Councillor Martin, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 5.1. Involved with several not-for-profit agencies, but I'll be staying in the room.
Thank you. Councillor Shane.
Thank you, Mayor. 5.5, promoting high density residential development, which is noting declaring that I work in real estate industry, white promoting the money.
Thank you. Any other councillors?
5.4.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Hollister. Thank you.
I'll be staying in the room.
Thank you. All good? Thank you very much. Then a reason from Councillor Hollister. Councillor Hollister, if we just have a reason why you're staying in the room.
That's my serviceman.
Move on to item 3. Procedural. 3.1 is the confirmation of minutes. If I could have a mover of the recommendation, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. And seconder, please.
Second.
Councillor Ennis. Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Merely procedural, Mayor. They're there for everyone to see.
Thank you. Councillor Ennis.
Yeah, nothing further, Mayor.
Thank you. Any further comment or questions? Councillors? Councillor Murphy to close, please.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 3.2 is public question time. 3.2.1 is responses to questions raised at prior meetings. Can you hear me? I feel like I can't be heard tonight. Can you all hear me down the back there? Thank you. 3.2.1, responses to questions raised at prior meetings. The recommendation is there if I can have a mover, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. And a seconder, please.
Seconded.
Councillor Hollister. Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Yet again, Mayor, merely procedural.
Thank you. Councillor Hollister.
Nothing further to add. It's all there, the responses.
Thank you. Any further comment from the councillors? Councillor Murphy, therefore, to close.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. So 3.2.2 is questions on notice from the public. The recommendation is there as well. If I could have a mover, please.
So moved.
Councillor Murphy. And a seconder, please.
Seconded.
Councillor Hollister. Councillor Murphy.
I'll probably invoke my last response, Mayor. They're all there for all to see.
Thank you. Councillor Hollister.
No different. They're there for everybody to read.
Thank you. Further comments, questions? Councillor Murphy to close, please.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. 3.2.3 is questions without notice from the public. So if there's anyone from the gallery that would like to come up and ask any questions, this is your opportunity, please. No questions from the gallery tonight. Thank you very much. 3.3 is questions on notice from councillors, which we have none. Moving right along. 3.4, notice of motions, we have none. So we'll move into item 4, which is planning authority matters. I announce that Council's intends to act as a planning authority under the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act 1993 for the consideration of agendas items 4.1, 4.2 and 4.3. So moving on to 4.1, which is 86A Gun Street. Thank you, Councillor Murphy.
Pretty much. Can I just clarify before someone moves this motion?
You certainly may.
Council's planners did meet with the developer this afternoon and we've recommended a couple of small changes to the recommendation that's in the agenda relating to the removing the noise barrier fence. That'll be addressed with the sheds that will be when the sheds are demolished along the train line. As part of that DA, there's some further clarity around the public open space contribution and also some changes to simplify the renumbering rules. And that's been circulated to councillors and it's on the screen.
Thank you.
The updated recommendation is not on the screen.
The update. This update.
Do you want to know? That's the original one.
Just bear with us for Chris to do her choice. While Chris is doing that, have the councillors all had a chance to have a look at what has been sent out? Just make sure we've got sent on. Councillor Ennis.
We should have just.
Yes. Yeah. It's absolutely. It's not, it's pretty sick lost. All right. So we put the changes. So was it, what number were they? Just so we've got some clarification, what number were they changed now in there? Is it 1 and 2?
Yes, that's through you, Mayor. Condition 2 has been removed about the noise barrier fence and that'll be addressed later. Condition 4, public open space contributions changed. It's been simplified and numbering, which was condition number, was touched on condition 21 and also in the notes at the end, which actually wasn't a condition, just clarity around the numbering.
Thank you. So if we're comfortable with that, councillors, I ask if there is a mover, please, at 4.1.
So moved.
Councillor Hollister, thank you. And a seconder, please.
Second.
Councillor Wojcicki, thank you. Councillor Hollister.
So I'm quite happy to move the recommendation, the amended one. This is just another step along the way. I did have a question though. All the infrastructure work, does that come separately or is it got to be done at each individual block?
Through you, Mayor, condition 8 refers to the requirements around infrastructure. So there'll be there's a requirement there that a plan is provided in relation to the footpaths and driveways, that type of infrastructure. That was the question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Hollister. Councillor Wojcicki.
Yeah, nothing further to add. Just pleased that we're started process. It's a good. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions from the councillors? Councillor Shin.
Through you, Mayor, I just have a couple of questions. Am I correct in understanding that the band room structure is going to be relocated and not into the plans?
Sorry, through to Ms. Lunton, thank you.
Through you, Mayor, the application that's before council tonight doesn't include any detail on anything further with the banker at this time. So if they were going to relocate that or demolish it or modify it, there'll be another DA bit required to come to council.
Sorry, apologies. I thought I read somewhere on the plan that it's being relocated, but anyway, that's fine. You can park it one. My other question through there was I noted in one of the representations, there was someone had written in and asked about the trees along trees and parking, I believe, along Parker Street, just down from Gun Street. Am I correct in my reading of the plan? I believe that those trees remain. They don't seem to be.
Through you, Mayor, there's a condition, I can't remember the number exactly, that addresses the trees. So the developer will be required to submit plans for their engineering approval, and the condition that's been included on the application requires them to minimise loss of trees. So there's potentially some trees lost for driveways, but that will be considered as part of the engineering approval.
Yeah, no, my strong preference would be that those very established trees stay for a whole variety of reasons. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Further questions from councillors? Councillor Viney.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just to continue on with what the Deputy Mayor was saying, I think the school was being moved. Deputy Mayor, I think that was
There were two things that seem to be being relocated on the plan. So that one.
question mark.
You don't seem to be on, but are you on?
I've turned off now.
Ah,
yeah, it's more a
yeah.
comment in the question.
Now to me.
You'll have the answer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So on my attachments page, so there's certainly a demolition plan as part of the application documentation. I'll take it to the page on the agenda. So it should be on page 72 of the actual attachments on the agenda showing which buildings will remain on site, which ones have been demolished.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Yeah.
Councillor Ennis.
Thank you. Things generally take a long time, and this is no exception, but it's pleasing to see that we have some things coming back through council and it's progressing, so I'm very pleased.
Thank you. Further comments? Councillor Hollister to close the debate, please.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Thanks, Ms. Hampton. Just wait for Councillor Murphy to come back into the fold. Thank you. Item 4.2, we're moving on to 213 Brook Street, East Devonport. The recommendation is, Sarah, if I could have a vote, please.
So moved.
Councillor Murphy, and a seconder, please.
Second.
Councillor Hollister, thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor. This is in relation to the manufacturing processing facility, obviously. The planners have obviously gone through an extensive process with making a determination for the recommendation on this particular one. There has been a number of representations received with respect to that. However, a lot of the scope of those recommendations are outside of what they have mentioned within them. It probably makes reasonable sense that the factory is located in that location, purely based around that they are looking at supplying Costas, who are a significant employer within our region. It's a great opportunity to sort of see something to help support that business, which I think is important. And as I said, the recommendation there, it would be very difficult for us to reject and then have that appealed by the developer, and then expect ratepayers' money in defending something that's not defendable. So, on the advice and professional advice that we've received, I will put this to councillors for their support and endorsement.
Thank you. Councillor Hollister.
Yes, I support the recommendation as well. I think this is a step towards what should have already been there between the wastewater treatment plant and the airport. So hopefully it's a step in the right direction, and if we can keep taste planning out of it, it should go better.
Thank you. Any further comment from any of the councillors? Yep. Councillor Shane.
Mayor. I read the representations carefully, and on plan, it's very different to actually when you drive out to site and look at it, as I did this afternoon. There is sort of a natural delineation. You are on site, and the infrastructure, industrial infrastructure that's already there, owned by Costas, is significant and of scale. And it sort of sits down the hill from Tea Tree Lane, or Tea Tree or something, whereas the driftwood sands is sort of elevated a fair distance. So I appreciate the concerns regarding the noise of the plant. But I think council's conditions should cover that. And I just want to note my disappointment that the planning wasn't done in accordance with the original DA approval. That tree planting is required for council for a reason. So I concur with Councillor Murphy's comments. We're in a bit of a pickle if we don't improve that light before the reasons outlined. As much as I love to see agricultural land stay agricultural land, or hopefully over time become residential, but this one will seem to be a little bit limited planning instruments it out. So, thank you.
Thank you. Further comments, questions from the councillors?
Yeah, sorry, Nick.
Councillor Vine.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just referring to the map that shows the current residential zone areas, which was given to the response to one of the representations on page 48. And it clearly shows that map of the urban growth boundary in this development site being just on the outside of that. And I think whenever you've got developments like this in those sort of fringe areas, you're going to come across representations and some conflict, but it's quite clearly marked that this particular parcel of land is zoned to be used for this purpose. Given that, I'm happy to endorse it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm certainly supportive of this planning application. I think it provides efficiency, cost savings for the industry, especially when we have Costas as a major employer in the area. And it is about keeping our produce competitive in the market as well. So any cost savings that we can make through efficiencies, being next door to one another, I think it's a really good opportunity to achieve such. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no further comment, I'll ask Councillor Murphy when he stops coughing too close if he's all right. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. I will click on.
My Lord's enjoyed that.
Yes, I thank my fellow councillors for their comments. I do acknowledge Councillor Shane's point. It is disappointing that Costas didn't comply with their development application upon construction with the green tree barrier. However, I think council will be all over this one once it gets to the stage of construction, that we'll ensure that that type of barrier will be sort of planted. So consider it closed.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 4.3. My laptop's on to sleep. Sorry. 4.3 is the plan reservation for the Essential General Retail and Price Order. So if I could have a move with the recommendation, please.
So moved.
Councillor Moore, and a second to please.
Second.
Councillor Murphy. Councillor Moore.
Sure, I'd like to approve the application and grant the permit for Suva Saunas to be relocated down to the Sound Shell at Mersey Bluff. I actually had a conversation with the owner today. They've had, in the last 60 days, they've had nearly 1,200 bookings. That's nearly 20 bookings a day, and that's not including their group bookings. I do note the 2 representations in the for this planning application. I've had a good look through them, and the only one that I thought that might not have been addressed as clearly in the comments from the officers was about the shower. But in talking to the applicant today, they have planned to put a shower on the outside door, a cold water shower that will be attached, as well as clients are able to use the 3 showers down the bluff at any time, because obviously you probably need to have a shower before you get into the sauna. The applicant is very much looking forward to clients being able to have that salt water immersion therapy, which they can't get where they are at the moment. His comment was actually that all the members at the moment are actually very happy where it is because tourists don't know about it, but that once the tourists finds out, he's hoping for a lot more business. I think it's a great addition for Devonport, so very happy to move this motion. There was a question about toilets. The toilets at the bluff are actually open 24 hours a day. So if somebody did need to avail themselves of that, they are also open. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor. I too will be supporting the motion simply based on this is a really good opportunity to provide something different for our community. Saunas have proven to have many health benefits. And the accessibility in that location, as Councillor Moore has already stated, with the opportunity for saltwater immersion is going to be a unique experience along the coast. I know the proponent does have intentions of seeing these in other locations within the region and potentially in the southern half of the state. But I think to have the first one here is a positive thing. And I agree. I think that it'll be a huge benefit to the caravan park. I think people there that will be there on holiday and want to go and have a sauna after a heavy night, sort of sitting around the campfire or something, just to sweat out any toxins they may have consumed over the period of their stay. It's a good opportunity. So I think this will be a really exciting thing and really looking forward to it. I think the location's right. That concrete structure just sits there and doesn't do a lot. So, I think to see some activity in that space. I know having read through the representations, I think that there's a lot of those points that were raised in those representations could be attributed to a lot of other areas in our city, not just that particular site. So, really looking forward to seeing this get off the ground and hopefully it's well supported and bring more people to it.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Any further comments for councillors? Councillor Shane.
Thank you, Mayor. Fully supportive of the proposal. So 2 concerns or observations. The applicant is proposing 2, I think they're 4-metre high flags, one at the location of the sauna and the other one on the road that goes up to Tiagara. I just note no other business in that area, whether it's Mrs. Jones or Drift or whatever, has signage on the road, and I'm concerned it creates an unfavourable precinct for the look and feel of that area. I just feel 2 is excessive. And as Councillor Moore has just alluded to, I really don't think they need 2 signs, but they're going to be batting people away. Sure, have one next to the sauna structure, but I don't think on the road is appropriate. It's applying a commercial look and feel through that very large signage right on the road that I don't think is consistent with the area. My other observation is hours of operation 6 a.m. to midnight, great. They're including security on the hour. I really would want to be comfortable that that security patrol is happening. It's expensive, particularly late at night on after hours. It needs to stay there, otherwise, you know. But I think if we're going to have something like that, it needs to be run properly and safely, particularly when you're outside of hours, you know, being visible on traffic. Have that. Those two comments make sense. What you can do about the second flag, but it's worrying precedent for me.
Would you have a question, or did you just want to just beg the observation?
Well, can it be just one flag at the sauna? Would be my question. Do we need to have a flag on the road?
Through you, Madam Mayor, because so the proponent's actually proposing to put up the flags and take it down each night. The planning scheme is actually silent on this type of sign, which I guess is something that it's regulated under a bylaw or
Yeah. Through you, Mayor, we pick it up under the street vending guidelines. So, yeah, happy to take the comments on board. He hasn't applied for permit yet, so when he does, we'll take that into consideration.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Further comments or questions, Councillor Martin?
If I may, just on that point again, which I had a note on in regards to flags and commercialisation of that area, we're passing a development application on this, and it has issues and bits and pieces listed on there with the mover. And second, I'd like to restrict that there be one flag condition. Is that possible? Because we're moving now.
We could do. I take note of what you're saying. So item 4 in there says signage associated with use is only permitted to be erected when the sauna is open. Any permanent signage is to be subject to further planning approval. So you're saying it's not approved yet?
Through you, Mayor, I think just to clarify the advice from the planners.
Yeah, so the advice from the planners is that the flags aren't regulated under the planning scheme, that we would regulate that under the mobile street trading guidelines, and that person has to actually get a permit to be able to put a flag or an A-frame sign or anything on our land, and certainly taking the comments on board tonight, they won't be getting a permit. So then we can regulate them not putting the flag out.
Cool. Yeah, just seeking clarification on way forward. Thank you.
Thank you. All good. Further comment? Councillor Bonnie.
Thank you,
Sorry.
Mayor. Yeah,
Sure.
sorry.
That's all right. Okay, you're on.
Sorry.
My fault.
That's fair enough. Firstly, just to remind, this was the original location that was sought after from this business, and I think what they've managed to do in the trade that they're generating at the Devonport Oval is great. Obviously, the idea is working in this preliminary time, so that's fantastic. I think this fits well within the council's wellbeing strategy. There's obviously health benefits associated with having a sauna. It's not for me. I don't like being hot. I'm a bit claustrophobic, so I'll probably give it a miss. But I think the location being close to the Bluff precinct there is fantastic for that. The sound shell as it currently sits is completely underutilised. If anything, it's a bit of a blight on that area. So I know this is a dressed up shipping container, but it certainly isn't going to be any worse than how it currently looks. And I think activating this area and having people there going into some of the issues that the Deputy Mayor was talking about, I think that will actually act as a deterrent for antisocial behaviour. Certainly if you've got people that are responsible adults doing the right thing in an area, it's certainly, in my experience and opinion, tends to keep the people that want to do the wrong thing, keeps them at bay. So if there's a roving security there every hour, I think that's going to be a benefit to that whole area, including where we've had issues with hooning. I know there's a gate there now, but I think that'll nip it in the bud. So I'll be supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ennis.
Thank you. My comment was about the security. it's a bit like, is this one of those things like they advise planting trees, but they don't happen? We wouldn't want saying that they're going to have the security and then it doesn't happen. Is there any way that we can ensure that the proponent has security there? Have we got any security over this?
Through you, Mayor, my understanding is that that's part of their business operations, so not a regulated activity under the planning scheme. So yes, that would be difficult for council. We obviously play a role from a public safety point of view. So should, hypothetically speaking, with or without security, there becomes activities there that become an issue, then council would obviously pursue that in conjunction with Tasmanian Police.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, like Councillor Bonnie said, I suppose when you have a number of adults who are doing the right thing there in space, that will certainly help.
Thank you. Further comments, questions? If not, I will ask Councillor Moore to close.
Thank you, Mayor. In closing, I'm happy to see the sauna move to the sound shell. When I questioned the proponent today, he commented and wanted to thank the ease of working with the council officers. And I concur with the councillors. It would be in the best interest for the proponent to make sure that those security measures were kept up. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. We're moving on to the report section, item 5. Item 5.1 is the Devonport Show public holiday, public consultation.
Move option 3, please, Mayor.
An option
The
3,
council
Councillor Murphy. The Councillor Martin, sorry, an option 3.
That council receive and note the community survey results in relation to the Devonport Show Day public holiday and engage further with the community and the Devonport Chamber of Commerce and Industry to identify an alternative public holiday date.
I'll second that.
Have you got that in writing? Thank you.
Just to clarify, Mayor, that really just adding the word the community and that correct?
Pretty much, yes. To option 2.
Option 2,
Option 2,
including
We can do that, or option 3, because you've nominated option 1, option 2.
you copy and paste that.
So, yeah, I still need to be an option 3.
And Councillor Murphy, you second that. Yes. Correct, Councillor Martin.
So it's obviously me, yes, at a time. If business typing is okay, that's fine.
Thank you. You may speak to that motion if you would like.
Oh, thank you.
Very well.
Option 3 basically adds in with the community additionally to give us another option. As identified, this Department of State Growth Gazette statutory public holidays and suggested that without reasonable community, business and industry support, any submission would be difficult to be supported by the state or Department of State Growth, even though under section 5-4 of the Act does not include the community. We must support our businesses and industries as they support our community at large through employment, wages, investments, sponsorships, donations, and so on. Without their support, many community organisations, not-for-profits, community events, charities, athletes, representative of our city, juniors, seniors, artists, creatives, and so on. We also cannot ignore 2 surveys where a majority of submissions convey wanting no change to the current date. There must be a compromise to suit community, business and industry, and it may well be that and maybe all those already suggested. By supporting option 3, it provides an opportunity for community, council, business and industry representatives to discuss together, perhaps a committee similar to that of naming of the Parramatta Centre. And that suggestion is basically we put out surveys, but we seem to be getting the same result. And I'm not quite sure that those surveys convey whether the public is of the understanding or appreciation of what business does for our local community and their input. So when our business are in need of support, especially when we start looking at online sales and bits and pieces, we need to look at, can we gain a compromise for all and sundry in our community? So perhaps a committee could be formed with expressions of interest for community representation, Chamber of Commerce and Council. Yes, it may take a little bit longer to get it right, but it would be inclusive and it would be, I feel, a better way forward than relying on putting out surveys and just getting a tick box response, no matter what the response is. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm supporting the notice motion, the change to the to option 3, purely based around the fact that DCCI has made a number of recommendations to council in respect to potentially changing the date to create a more unique Devonport event, etc., etc., etc. I think there needs to be some sort of balance with respect to that. The Devonport show was a unique event, even though most regional areas had a show. Burnie, Launceston, Devonport, Circular Head. However, they fell by the by because the public didn't support them. And that's part of the issue, is that if we don't do something about date, the support's not there for a unique event anyway. If the date remains the same, people are going to continue to do the same thing, and they're not supporting anything here in the community on that weekend as it is. So I think there needs to be a broader conversation and a context put around. I think that's the issue with the survey. It probably didn't provide enough information. It just basically provided people with a choice. Here's 3 options. Pick one. So I think there needs to be an engaging with the members of the community and the DCCI and having a more informed conversation around the rationale behind a proposed changing of the date would then probably put the community in a broader sense at ease with respect to the rationale behind that. Because I think collaboratively between the DCCI and members of the community, there could be a consensus achieved that would benefit the broader, as Councillor Martin has stated, the broader community. Because, as he said in his preamble just a minute ago, the fact that small businesses are heavily impacted by that particular date, and small businesses are they are the fabric of our community. So I think to provide them that support at that particular time of the year makes a lot of sense. I know I've spoken to quite a number of business people around this particular topic, and they have fairly firm views, but they may not have participated in the survey, even though they're encouraged to do so. So it would be interesting to get a little bit more information and potentially look at what the options are, but then have a broader conversation around what could actually be achieved with addressing this particular issue.
Thank you. Further comment from the councillors. Councillor Hollister.
So I'm going to support option 3. Already have 2 surveys. I think this is a crucial decision to make. I think it needs to be firstly done for the community. I think retail and the business in this area. If we don't move this date, I think we'll have more big shops in our business districts, not only just in the mall, there'll be other areas as well. It's 3 to 4 weeks to Christmas from the current show holiday. I think this is probably a case of, for the community's benefit, the council needs to eventually make a decision that is the benefit of the whole community and not just for the ones that can't be bothered changing it. So I think option 3, but I'm not sure that it's looking at the right things. We've had 2 surveys, and I think for the economic benefit of our retail, our hotels, restaurants, all the businesses, 3 weeks before Christmas is far too close from the economic point of view of the Christmas shop. I'll support the recommendation, but I'll be very much against leaving it where it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ennis.
Thank you. Why do we, if we have surveys and the community is clearly been shown that they do not support a change in show holiday, we can't just say, oh, you're not giving the right answer, so we have to try again. We're not given the right answer, so we have to have a compromise. That's hardly the way that consultation works. So I think the community is clearly supportive of having that public holiday on that day. We know that there's no show. The show was supported. It's the people who were running the show didn't have the volunteers to make it happen, and they just got under the pump, so they couldn't actually run the show. People would go to the show. People enjoyed the show, and it was great. But if it's not happening, then yes, they could put something else on that day, and people are keen to have something, an event, which I think would be good. That day has worked a long time for us. Why couldn't we have that on the same day? If someone comes up with another idea for a unique event. So on one hand, you've got the public, on the other hand, you've got Shopkeepers Union, and they're discussing these things. And if it's not coming up with the right comment or the right answer for them, then we're saying we need a compromise. So I've spoken to a lot of people of the community, and their feeling is that they like that date for the public holiday.
Thank you. Councillor Viney.
Thank you, Matt. Similar to Councillor Ennis in that the circles that I roll in now was overwhelming. It was pretty clear cut. It wasn't even close to retaining for the decision to retain the current date, even with those alternatives put on the table. It was still overwhelming. We like the holiday where it is. We used to the holiday where it is. It's not that we're not open to having it on a different day. It's just that the end of November really, we really appreciate having a public holiday at that time. I know there was talk about in the survey a future alternate date with a council-run event, a special event. Why can't we do that special event, that original idea? Why can't we put that on the last weekend in November and draw people into the city because of that? If we're going to be doing further consultation, I mean, to what end? We're still going to be, it feels like we're just sort of going around in circles a bit with this. And I think it's also worth noting that currently there's two and a half other municipalities that are also currently having that no-show holiday at the same time. So let's say hypothetically Devonport changes it, you still got our immediate neighbours that have a population of say 2-1 for the people of the city of Devonport, those people aren't going to be, they're still going to have that public holiday at the end of November. So you're still going to see a population that would otherwise come in and shop here or frequent business here going somewhere else. I know you're looking confused, Councillor Murphy, so I'll say, like, the people who live in Sheffield, they would still have the public holiday at the end of November, so they would still go away at the end of November if they chose to. It would still have an impact on the trading at Devonport if Devonport didn't have the show day, no show day holiday. Need to clarify more? Or? All right. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wilczynski.
Thank you, Mayor. It has been a long time of discussion, been in retail for many years. Show days are precious and, yes, very much appreciated. I'd go with option 3 because I want more discussion of some sort of event, whether it is on that day or elsewhere, but the discussion should be had to make something for a community at that time of year. It's the show day is Sheffield gets it because it's Devonport show day, not Sheffield. So if it was moved, they wouldn't get the day. So just to clarify that, I don't believe. But I will go with option 3 because I want more discussion of what we can do for the community on our show day, wherever it is. Thank you.
Councillor Moore.
Yeah, I'd be supporting option 1. Nearly 3/4 of all the respondents voted to keep the show day public holiday. I do note the submission from the DCCI and their concerns. It would have been great if the DCCI had come up with some suggestions of dates or events rather than just handballing it, like just handing it straight back to us without any ideas of what they could actually help the city with. I take Councillor Martin's point about further consideration, but I believe this was a very well voted for survey with 1,300 people. I believe we have done enough consideration. The result wasn't close. It was overwhelming. So I think the community has spoken, and I think that it's our job to listen to the community when it speaks.
Thank you. Any further comments? I have a question, if I may. Councillor Martin, with your option 3, which has just been mooted tonight, how do you particularly want to engage further with the community? If we've done the survey and you're saying we've done that, what are your thoughts about how to then...
I've suggested in my preamble that perhaps we get community representation, chamber representation, council representation in the room, basically kick the ball around and start talking about what impact it has on business, why public want to have that holiday on the same day. So there's interaction between all parties, so we can perhaps identify a compromise through that method, whether it be change the dates or whether it be identifying a unique activity for that sort of date. But I just feel at the moment we've had 2 surveys and there's been a lot of discussion around here, even for my wife, who doesn't want the holiday moved. But when I sat down and spoke with regards to what business actually contribute to our community, and if we don't support our business, a lot of these community events will not be able to be supported by local businesses, whether it be a bottle of wine or a gift voucher or something like that. Our businesses have got to make money to be able to support our community. So through this motion, I'm hoping that information, what the businesses do for our community, why the community don't want to change the date, perhaps in a room with all those entities involved, our whole community can thrash it out and come out with a compromise that everybody can be happy with. And I get the surveys, and council is elected to represent people. But I believe from the conversations that I've had, there's a lot of people who don't realise or take for granted what businesses do for our community. And they think, I'm going to have a long weekend holiday. And that's the focus. Well, if they can still have their long weekend holiday at a time that would provide opportunities for businesses to improve and gain additional sales, I think that's a win-win. So that's why I'm suggesting, as I did before in my preamble, Mayor, the concept of having some type of committee.
So a couple of community representatives on a committee.
Yeah, you put an EOI out to and chamber and us and the community and get them in a room.
Thank you. My comment is, I mean, I'm the first one to say, I've had a previous notice motion back when I was a councillor about the show day holiday, because I've always had a problem with having 2 public holidays in November in Devonport. So we get Recreation Day at the beginning of the month, and at the end we have the show day holiday, and of course then the show folded. And even if the show came back, if the society were able to get the show back up and running, I don't think they necessarily need a 2-day show day to have a show, because other shows can operate without 2 days. I have a real problem of how it does affect the businesses at Christmas season. And I certainly know from personal experience going up to Launceston last year on purpose on the Friday of the public show holiday, and every retailer and every business, every cafe I went into, I asked, have you put extra staff on today because of the public holiday in Devonport? They said, of course we have. And it was very busy up there, and the mall was pumping, and how many Devonport people I saw, or people from the area, it was crazy. So hence why we went to the businesses first, just to say, well, how do you feel about this? Because they're the ones affected most. And then we've put it out to the community. However, I'm very strongly erring on the fact that we've put it out to the community, and the community are saying no. So it's a difficult one. What do we do? So we're putting out surveys and we're going to ignore them, or are we putting surveys out to listen to the general public because we've asked them, and a lot of people have engaged in this. We're lucky sometimes to get 20, 30 people to participate in things. We've had a lot of feedback here, and I really think that I need to listen to this. And I really admire your option, Councillor Martin. I understand that you want to do further, but I'm not sure that we'll get it if we're only engaging with a couple of people that get, put their hand up to be on a committee. We're still then not resonating with the whole community. There's 1,000 people on here that have said no. 938 people have said no. So I was certainly thinking that that's how that would have gone tonight, in my personal opinion. So it'll be interesting to see how the councillors vote. Councillor Murphy, you've got a question?
I do, Mayor. It was to Councillor Viney. I just wanted to clarify because I'm still struggling. So what you're saying is if the date was changed for the Devonport show public holiday,
Yep.
it wouldn't change in Sheffield. I just want to understand how that would work. So if you could just, then I've got another question too.
Can I answer that one first? Or?
No, I'll just.
Through you, Mayor, I could just refer councillors to the statutory requirements section in the report. So ultimately, the minister has the power to make the decision, has the call. I think it's unknown whether the minister would apply a change just to the Devonport municipality or whether he would look to do similar in the Tribal Kedge. So I think that the answer is we don't know. Either could occur.
Either could occur.
Ultimately, but the Act says that it's the minister's choice.
Yeah, okay. And my second question is that the original public holiday was given to the Devonport Agricultural and Pastoral Society for an agricultural show. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah. I believe so. It's how it was. It has been for Osborne. Thank you. Councillor Holster, did you have a question?
Yes, does Central Coast have the holiday or Devonport show down?
Oh, some have, it depends on the businesses.
No, they go both ways.
I'd say Ulverston this side would take Devonport one, and Penguin that way would go to Burn.
When I worked in Ulverston at Roberts Real Estate at the time, they had the Devonport show public holiday, but other businesses near me didn't, and they had Burnie. So, yeah, and I don't know how it is now. I've got no idea.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I will close that debate. Oh, Councillor, sorry.
I'll close the debate.
Sorry, I mean,
My question is, there seems to be anecdotal evidence that people leave the city on that day and shop elsewhere. Is there evidence that people from other areas come here when there are public statutory public holidays in other places? They come here. I'm sure they do. So businesses pick up in one way and they might lose in another way. So if there is evidence, it would be great to hear from both.
is that your question?
My question is, yes, has someone got evidence that people only leave and never come, or do they come here as well?
If I may now, I think there's a Burnie Show Day. There's an influx or increase in patronage in the Devonport area of about 11%. Ish. Increase. Have you got that?
Mr.
True,
Smith?
yeah, we don't have the specific data in front of me, but there is clear changes in retailing patterns across different sectors. So prior to the Devonport show day, typical retail spend across some sectors increases prior to the show. It's typically a quieter retail, discretionary retail trade day on the public holiday, and we see changes in retailing patterns with other public holidays close to the region. Definitely, we could certainly pull that data out and circulate it to councillors again. But yes, it does. Public holidays impact retail trade patterns.
Thank you.
Can I?
Have you got another question?
It is a question, yeah.
Councillor Lyons.
It's a poignant question. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. As we just discussed, won't they change the public holiday in half of Central Coast, Kentish and Latrobe? That's up in the air, but we're talking about consultation potentially affecting our neighbours as well. Maybe we should extend that community consultation to include our neighbours as well, because they will be affected by a decision that we're potentially making right now. So should we add that to the extensive list of consultation that will keep going round and round circles potentially? Consultation, question mark.
That's through to Councillor Martin.
I think you could actually put in there community, wider community. You put wider community if you want to put a word in. Look, we work with our fellow councils with Dalton, Mersey Leaving. So the word community, you put a definition up there, could include wider if you like. I take it that from the concept, it's a broad statement that I've got up there, and it certainly would include and should involve our neighbouring communities as well. So the option would be there. How it proceeds would be that's an opportunity to have further breakdown of the survey and bring the community in to talk with council and Chamber of Commerce, etc. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you. No further questions. I will ask Councillor Martin to close the debate.
Thank you, Mayor. So the idea of having a committee, when you in my preamble, is a concept of what could be done, whether it be a group, committee, however we like to proceed with this. Point that the conversations I was having was it wasn't to ignore the survey results. It was that we're not quite sure as we unpack the survey results, get into it, whether the public are aware how much the business community supports the community itself far and wide. And if there was able to be a compromise, was that thinking involved when they fill out the survey? And that's what I'm trying to actually find out through such a committee or grouping of it. I understand about the impact when we talk about public holidays in our neighbouring communities, but if they have the holiday and Devonport stores are open, come here and do your shopping. So I don't see a problem with that. I see that as an opportunity. I see it as an opportunity engaging our community and business people in the same room at the same time to talk about this. As we can see, the conversations that we have around this room, it's all varied. None of it is all one way. So to go further and unpack this, I think would be a sensible way of moving forward, so we can all come up with, I use the word compromise, but an ideal date that would suit the men. There's no longer a Devonport show. In fact, there's no unique event to replace the Devonport show. That's a fact. And as I said, as I read in my notes here again, get the community together with the business and have that conversation, I think would be a true benefit instead of having it separately. Chamber of Commerce writes to us, we talk about a few dates, we put it out to the community for their say, and there's no conversation in the middle and face to face. And I think the option 3 gives that opportunity. Thank you. Consider it closed.
Thank you. All those in favour of option 3?
Aye.
Against?
Yeah.
Have a show of hands, please. For option 3, Councillor Murphy, Councillor Wilczynski, Councillor Martin and Councillor Hollister and Councillor Shen. And against is Councillor Ennis, Councillor Viney, Councillor Moore and Councillor Jarman. Option 3 has been resolved. Thank you. Moving on to item 5.2, tender report for annual reseal program. The recommendation is there. If I can have a mover, please.
So moved.
Councillor Murphy, thank you. And seconder, Councillor Shen. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor. Obviously, the tender review committee has done its work because there's some really positive numbers in there. Obviously, the contractors are starting to sort of find that they've got a bit of time to do some work, so they're a little bit more competitive, which is good. So it only benefits the community. So it's there for everyone to see.
Thank you. Councillor Shen.
Yeah, quite a significant variance to budget. At this stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments, questions? Councillor Murphy to close, please.
Consider it closed, Mayor.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 5.3 is the public open space contribution policy. The recommendation is there. I can have a mover, please. Councillor Martin, thank you.
So second.
Councillor Wilczynski, thank you. Councillor Martin.
Thank you. I think it's a good policy. It's there for everybody to read. It covers all thoughts in regards to public open space contribution from the developers is outlined, and I think it's a common sense approach. Thank you.
Councillor Wilczynski.
Yes, I agree. It gives them something intangible to see with paper that there's an outline, and so we can run with that. So, yeah, I'd agree with that.
Thank you. Further comments, Councillor Murphy?
Yes, Mayor. I just think it's another step forward for Devonport City Council with respect to engaging with developers who are, have found it very difficult at times with respect to this particular aspect of development, whereas now it provides a transparent framework for those developers to actually engage with council to get the best outcome for the community.
Thank you. Further comments? Councillor Hollister.
Just a question. Does this provide similar revenue that it has for many years in the past? Subdivisions or similar percentages and so forth?
Through you, Mayor, yes, the policy is just effectively capturing the current practice that's been occurring for some time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments, questions? Councillor Martin to close, please.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 5.4, the National Servicemen's Association of Australia, a request to install memorial plaque. The recommendation is there. If I could have a mover, please.
So moved.
Councillor Hollister, thank you.
Second.
Councillor Viney, sorry. I didn't look up. I don't know. Thank you. Councillor Hollister.
I'm supporting the recommendation. I am a national serviceman. The bulk of these national servicemen are actually in an earlier period to the Vietnam Veterans Park, and I think they need to be recognised just as much as the Vietnam vets. I'm supporting the recommendation.
Thank you. Councillor Lane?
Thank you, Mayor. Just to agree with Councillor Hollister entirely, I think something like this only adds to that area. The national servicemen have a unique, chapter in our military history. I'm fortunate to have grown up in a period where it's relatively war-free, although I wouldn't feel like it, but certainly not to the extent it was, or very different that it was in the 50s, 60s and 70s. And part of, my gratitude for this country and for those men like Councillor Hollister who served and answered the call. And I think it's entirely appropriate that they have their own plaque in this area, noting that it's no cost to council at all. So I would hope that my fellow councillors would have similar sentiments. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments?
Questions?
Yes,
Any further development on the statewide B&B's proposal for the B&M area?
No, through you, Mayor. Only that that group's advised that they're not continuing with that proposal.
Thank you.
Thank you. I certainly think that it's high time that we had these servicemen actually of the Association of Australia, the Mersey Regional Sub-Branch, having this plaque installed. It's time for this to happen, and I certainly can't wait to see it unveiled, hoping that we do endorse that tonight. Thank you. If I could ask Councillor Hollister to close.
To close.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 5.5 is the promoting higher density residential development. Can I have a mover, please?
Second.
Councillor Sheehan and Councillor Murphy. Thank you. Councillor Sheehan.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to briefly recap on the background, the purpose of the motion last year was simply to point out that Devonport's in a unique position at the moment. We are largely constrained in terms of land and land development opportunities, but we do have a lot of very old hydro housing, and it was my observation that the local development community, when offered one of these sites, would often demolish the hydro home and replace it with a couple of small on-ground townhouses. And my concern was, having lived in Sydney for many years and seeing massive amounts of high-rise development, was that, are we always developing the land for its best use? Could we not, in certain circumstances, take advantage of council's existing planning policies that would allow developers to go up maybe 2-3 stories? We did it in the 1970s very well, and there's some really lovely examples of high density apartments in Devonport at the moment. And maybe Councillor Murphy will concur, but we never have trouble moving it. But there is no resistance to that stock in the market. So there's appetite for it. It's affordable, entry-level stock. I'm so concerned that, that I've seen, since I moved back from Sydney, the median house price here go from, I think it was around $250,000 when I arrived 15 years ago. It's now in the 400s. It's impossible to imagine our children having an easy pathway into home ownership. So that was sort of the background for the motion that I put forward. I'd like to thank council staff for coming up with some really innovative suggestions. I pretty much just raised the problem and left it to you to come up with some solutions. I think they're very bold strategies. They're collaborative. They anticipate leveraging other parts of government and entities that can help us come up with some solutions. So I think it's a good scaffold for future discussions. And if all it does is signal to the market that we are open for business, that you can, even under existing planning laws, apply to do 2-3 story dwellings, then I think, job done. But there's so much opportunity. And the only thing I'd say in closing is I think there's a place for high density and there's not a place for high density. And I think as a council, if we get ahead of the game, and maybe, you know, hug the CBD footprint a little bit, stay close to existing services and infrastructure, then there's a really exciting opportunity for us as a city to grow our rate base, provide opportunities for young people to get a foothold on the ladder. And I really look forward to working with, hopefully, fellow councillors and council staff on developing policy.
Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Realistically, I don't think you can say it any better than what Councillor Shane has just stated. It really is putting the sign out front saying open for business, especially with respect to, as Councillor Shane highlighted, that real deficiency in the market with respect to that type of stock, and the definite appetite out there in the marketplace at the moment for it. But more broadly, is what will that actually do to our CBD and what will it do to our community? A little bit more activity, the opportunities, the flow-on effects, the ripple effect, if you like, from that has this huge potential. And again, it's just demonstrating how much further this council is with its strategic visioning for growing itself versus others within the region. And I think that is something that we should be proud of. And this policy is, really is going to go a long way to attracting even more people to come live here. So, I fully commend it to my fellow councillors.
Thank you. Further comments from the council? Councillor Hollister.
Question. Is there much scope, say, looking at high density 4 stories? Does that get to be unaffordable? Like I said, can you build it, to build it, say something 4 stories, is that going to make them that expensive that people can't afford them anyway? It's not going to help with the low cost housing. I don't know, probably a question for developers.
Mr. Skirving would like to take that. Thank you.
Through you, it's very much project specific. There are some thresholds that developer has to push through in terms of building type, so construction type, which adds cost, but also access. Provisioning lift access, for example, the multi-story residential property is a significant cost. I think the challenge at the moment still for our community is around access to appropriate land and the value of that land, and the capacity of the market's been focused on our suburban development recently, particularly driven by recent subdivision activity, but there's certainly costs associated with certain development type. I don't think it necessarily pushes projects into unaffordable territory, but there's definitely opportunity and unmet demand in our community for that type of housing. Absolutely. I think development we've seen historically is particularly only focused on one segment of the market at a time. There's profitable projects to be delivered that certainly deliver housing for broader sectors of the market in terms of value and cost.
Thank you. Councillor Viney.
Thank you, Mayor. I think this is a completely sensible proposal that's been put forward, and I'll be supporting it. I think it's a great opportunity for council. As was mentioned by the Deputy Mayor, it's the ability for younger people to get a start into home ownership and creates that pathway, not necessarily living in that apartment, but potentially being able to afford to buy into the market, which is going to be so important going forward. When I bought my house now, look at the value of it, I'm like, wow, so glad I got in 10 years ago. And I think having more opportunity and more of these developments is only going to increase the livability of the city. Obviously, not everyone needs a lot of space or even a yard. I actually loved living in a small apartment in my time in Melbourne because of that, and really found that the disadvantage of living like that was that if you lock yourself out of your apartment and have to climb 4 stories at 2 a.m. in the morning and breaking through the balcony, it's a bit of a problem. But other than that, I love the community of apartment living. I was a bit of an anomaly in my building because I got to know all my neighbours and would talk to them in the stairwell, which is a bit of a no-no apparently. But create a bit of a community. And as I started or finished, I'll be supporting as written. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments, Councillor Wilczynski?
Yes, I agree. It's a great direction for us to go in. It's not only for the youth to come in, it's downsizing, or we have a lot of women, single women, middle-aged women that really sometimes homeless, so it might give them a leg in as well. So it can be quite a mixed group of people across the community that can afford affordability to go into a type of apartments. So congratulations, Stacey, and I'll definitely be recommending it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? Councillor Ennis?
Thank you. I think the stats show that we have a lot of bigger houses with not many people living in them, and that comes through options that probably haven't got the options. And with some more of this higher density type living, smaller unit setups, that will give people the opportunity to move out of the bigger places, which may well becoming a challenge to look after and so forth, into a smaller place without a yard and etc. So there are benefits for our older people as well as the younger people for this high density stuff. So I'll be supporting. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? I certainly commend Councillor Sheehan for this back in September 2023 for putting it up. And I guess what it did was make us all rethink how this all looks. And as it says in the conclusion, it's giving a broader awareness to those developers that are going to approach us, instead of doing the typical put a couple of units at the back of this house, or I've developed this block and made it, it's got to have a garden, it's got to have a garage, it's got to have this, it's got to have that. If we're going up, what it allows is for right sizing, not downsizing. And we've got to stop saying downsizing because it sounds a little bit negative. So we're starting to use that right sizing word. So for people that could move out of the family home as they mature and get into something that's a little bit easier and closer to amenity, that certainly helps as well. It might be closer to the doctors, it might be closer to walking distance for health and wellbeing. It could be so many ramifications for our older generation, which we know we're getting more of. The baby boomers are a certain age now, and we're getting into that, let alone our young people trying to get into the market, and let alone investors working in real estate back in the day, what I did with rentals. This is going to encourage investors to actually have things that they can afford to add to their portfolio as well. It's just holistic. I think it's fabulous. I think it's a really clever way to go about creating that broader awareness and getting our developers to think outside the square when they're approaching us. So I certainly commend Councillor Sheehan for bringing this up. And I ask before Councillor Sheehan to close the debate, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, look, again, just want to acknowledge the brilliant work by the council team. They've really had much to discuss tonight. So thanks again. Super quick one too, as I mentioned back in September, it kind of got lost in the noise, but the state government is currently doing a review with the industry on the Australia Titles Act. I would implore them, just I know there's a lot on, but that review needs to be completed and then changes put in place so it's more in line with best practice acts on the mainland. And that way, as we start to funnel people into a different investment vehicle, i.e. a new strata development, there's protection around that. It can go awfully wrong if you don't have robust legislation running parallel to it. So really like to underscore that point that we can keep a focus on the Strata Titles Act movements. That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 5.6 is the annual plan and budget estimates resolution update. The recommendation is there.
Through you, Mayor. Just before Just to note that we did circulate a simplified resolution. That's the recommendation which is on the screen. Circulated this morning.
So moved.
Councillors.
Second.
Councillor Murphy and Councillor Viney. Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Mayor, this is just merely a procedural thing with respect to an error that's been picked up. It's been corrected, so it's there for all to see and should be endorsed.
Thank you. Councillor Viney.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I agree with Councillor Murphy. It's just a small typographical error, and it's been caught and fixed, and well done for whoever sharp eyes picked that one up. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions? Councillor Murphy to close.
Consider it closed, Mayor.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Item 6, we're on to information. 6.1, the workshops and briefing sessions. If I could have a vote, please, of the recommendation.
Second.
Councillor Martin, thank you. And Councillor Viney, thank you. Councillor Martin,
Merely procedure. Thank you.
thank you. Councillor Viney.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder to my fellow councillors that the Devonport Community Landcare Group will be doing some East Devonport foreshore renovation work and some plantings. So this Sunday, 28th of July, I'll be there.
Well
6 Marcus, thank you.
Thank you. Further comments or questions?
Question.
Councillor Martin.
Oh, so 9:30?
Councillor Lima.
It's 9:30 in my diary. But it's not 9:30 to 11:30. Yes.
Well done. Thank you. Any further comments or questions? If not, Councillor Martin to close, please.
Consider closed.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. 6.2 is the Mayor's monthly report. If I can have a mover, please.
So moved.
Councillor Moore, thank you. And a seconder.
Second.
Councillor Ennis, thank you. Councillor Moore.
Busy as normal now. Just had a question about the meeting between Sprayton Primary School regarding the Northwest Sports School. Can you just let us know about that meeting?
Absolutely. Yeah, that was great. The school parents and friends, sorry if that's the incorrect terminology nowadays for the school association, invited me along, but there was also some teachers there, and Dan Spears from DSIP was also online. And it was just to find out a little bit more about their concerns, their questions, asking about why it was chosen, which is really what DSIP, it's really their meeting. And I was there just to fill in some gaps if I could, and it was a really good meeting. Thank you. Councillor Ennis.
Yes, another busy month. I just had a one question. I know you attend a lot of things. You attended one of our community organisations, the Rotary Club of Devonport North changeover dinner. How was that?
Talk about Dorothy.
Not bad.
I heard it was really good.
It was excellent, thank you. We're very lucky to have 3 amazing Rotary clubs, and that Rotary club is incredible. And we have a new president amongst us, and wish him all the best for the continued year with him at the helm. Thank you, Councillor Ennis, for being so pointed and pointing that out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Wojcinski.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Again, you've met a lot of people and opened a lot in AGMs, but the one I was interested in is when you went to Canberra and you met with the Minister, Catherine King, MP, for infrastructure, transport, regional development and local government at Parliament House. And it's saying that you were looking at our development areas. What development did you put forward for Devonport, as we've got a few? Did you get a chance?
I might get General Manager to fill in a little bit more because it is one that we're already up with, but
Yeah, through you, Mayor. Council's got an application with the federal government for funding for the precincts and partnerships program. So it's an application to do the public space and the roadway around the Indie School developments. And that's with the minister, is the relevant, Catherine King is the relevant minister for that area. And we just took the opportunity to raise that application there and yes. Ask if we have to wait long until it's going to be announced. The answer was that they're still working through the application.
Right. Just wondered what it was. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Yeah, Mayor, I'll just follow up from Councillor Wilczynski that will councillors receive a report from the trip to Canberra with respect to the goings on up there?
Councillor Martin is allowed to do a report when he's ready. Receiving one, I'm sure. And there was attachments that we've sent out to you as well with this as well that you might, I don't know who's saying from the, thank you. Any further questions? We'll ask Councillor Moore to close, please.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 6.3 is the General Manager's report. If I could move it, please.
So moved.
Councillor Murphy, and a second, please. So second. Councillor Wilczynski. Councillor Murphy.
Yeah, procedural, man.
Thank you. Councillor Wilczynski.
Yes, just a couple of things. If I can ask what the CEO of the Basketball Council are looking at, that we are future-proofing our area in basketball. You met with the CEO and the COO.
Yeah, so through you, Mayor, that's Stadium Tasmania, not specifically basketball.
Oh, sorry.
So
I
that's
thought it was basketball.
the state government organisation that are overseeing the major sporting venues in the state. Just taking the opportunity to keep them updated with our project, where that's at.
And I gather a second question with that, Mayor, if I can. Meeting with Mr. Street's office, next Street's office is making sure our $25 million is still there.
Yeah, through you, Mayor. Yeah, just continuing to keep them updated prior to the media announcement that occurred on site here a few weeks back, or at the basketball stadium a few weeks back. So, yeah, discussion about that and also just generally about the local government review process, which is part of the same minister's portfolio.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. To the General Manager, matters of interest between Clarence and Devonport councils. Who like to elaborate that role? I mean, we do have white and red football colours up here as well.
We do, through you, Mayor. It was actually Ian that reached out to me initially, and his interest was in our budget breakfast, and Clarence were considering conducting a budget breakfast like Devonport have for a number of years, and so just talked him through what we've done there and how that's worked, and that was the initial reason. But then obviously just operational matters between the two councils, where we're at and what we're doing.
Thank you. Any further comments, questions? If not, Councillor Murphy to close.
Consider it closed, man.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 6.4 is the monthly operational report. Always a bit of light reading for us. If I could have a mover, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Biney and Councillor Sheehan. Councillor Biney.
Thank you, Mayor. You might pick over the bones of this, Deputy. I'm not going to leave you much. I'm going to cover most of it, I think. I'll try and keep it all positive this month. I've stayed away from the trolls on social media. So Highfield Park Skate Park opening a few weeks ago. I was there with you, Mayor. It's great to see that community asset being opened. Looks like the kids are going to thoroughly enjoy it. It's a great open community space we have in our city. Sound and Light Show open. What an opening! The rain was coming in sideways. Luckily, we had a rotunda to project onto because I wouldn't have wanted to have been out in the open. And who do I send an invoice for my rusted umbrella? Can I claim that one? Or no? Jamoan. I went to Jamoan on the weekend with Mum. It was great. He didn't have too many jokes about Devonport, which I thought was unusual. I thought he was going to hang someone else, but he didn't. Luminosity is a free virtual reality, augmented reality presentation around the city. That's open now. We've found a couple of those with the boys and enjoying that. On the weekend, we had our music at the waterfront, or music by the waterfront, but also by the rain. And we had just enough of the clearing for that to be a successful event. I can only hope that maybe that's the start, maybe that's the kernel of a fantastic community wintertime event. Obviously, the weather's going to work against us at that time of year, but it was great that it wasn't cancelled, and I certainly enjoyed it, and seemed like the people down there not only enjoyed it but appreciated that it was on and that there was something to do that was free. Jazz this weekend, full program of events. It's fantastic. I'll note that the top 10 website pages this is websites was the Fogo Waste Collection, which is well and truly away. When I was driving here tonight, I noticed that, say, at least 80% of the street had their green waste bin out. So that's enough for everybody else to be in step with the sequence. I don't think there's any complaints on my street. And finally, over the weekend, I caught one of the exhibitions. It was just finishing up. I'm pointing the wrong way, aren't I? It's this way. Yeah, I am pointing the right way. Up top, I can't remember who it was. I've only taken a note and remembered the quote or the name of the exhibition, which, as an educator, I'm always finding these quotes, and I reckon we can all get something out of this. So the name of the exhibition was "The Grass is Greener Where You Water It," which obviously this last week, plenty of green grass growing in Devonport. Thank you, Matt.
What a great summary, Councillor Bonnie. Thank you very much. Councillor Sheen.
Thank you. I just had a quick question regarding FOGO. Anecdotally, are we comfortable that all seems to be rolling out well? I've heard some really good feedback about council's comms on FOGO, that everyone got the information they needed, and just wondering if, from an operational perspective, sorry,
We might ask Mr. Brooks. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, through the mayor. Yeah. Turn that on. Yeah, generally, it has rolled out very well. A lot of planning went into preparation for the rollout of FOGO. Naturally, in those communications, not everyone is going to pick up the message. The customer service has certainly done a very good job assisting the community with dealing with any issues that have come up. But overall, it has gone very well.
Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor. It seems very hard to follow Councillor Viney. I did feel his pain, although it might have been from a lofty height on Saturday night at Music by the Water. It was the view from the fourth floor of the Novotel was very good. No issues with the rain, but out there in the balcony, it was the staycation, I think it's called. It was and it was interesting to see how many people actually did exactly the same thing. However, it was a great event, and full credit to our events team on that. I suppose the important thing is too that we received 19 new citizens, which I thought was, again, a testament to the fact that Devonport is growing in its diversity, which is really, really important. And my pet one, I'm like Councillor Viney, I have my pet things I like to go to, and just looking at our car parking meter revenue, obviously there are quite a lot of people away at the moment, so they're not using the car parks as much. They're a little bit down on revenue, but overall we're up and about as per normal. So yeah, it's always an interesting little stat, that one, to have a look at what the car parks are actually doing, and it's a good indicator of what's actually happening around CBD. So yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Hollister, sorry.
It's just a maintenance thing, actually, looking at, we've got some footpaths that are fixed, but walking through the around the theatre lately, I noticed a few potholes, and that's probably come from all the rain. I know we haven't got our Mickey Mouse ceiling to get any longer, but I'm sure where somebody can fix the potholes with.
Thank you. Take that on notice. Thank you, Councillor Hollister. Councillor Ernst.
Yeah, just a couple of things to comment on. The
the music by the waterfront, as a man of the people, I was down in amongst the crowd, and it was strange how many people actually came and made a comment. But thank you for the council putting this on.
Absolutely.
It was the amount of people that came up, as people know the council, but so they're coming up and making that comment. And even though it was wet at times, it was just people out and about and really enjoying it and saying thank you to the council. And we don't get many thanks very often. So that's a great thing for us to get that sort of feedback. You know, people pay their rates and they do whatever. And when they get free events and really quality free events like that we can sort of put on and people can go and take their families, etc., it is a really good positive. So well done to everyone who was part of that and put that on. And, you know, those who watched from afar, I'm sure they enjoyed it too. I'd also, my comment about the FOGO, it is a bit of a challenge with neighbouring councils who will be taking stuff. And I know my wife gave me a great comment about what some of the councils say you can't put in the FOGO bins, that they used to be able to put in the FOGO bins because it got transported to somewhere else in Launceston, but now they're coming to Golden, and they will need to sharpen up and be aware of what's acceptable and what's not. And I know that the Devonport communication has been really good, and let's hope that the other councils get their communication really good as well, so that we don't get a lot of contamination in FOGO. And that's one of the real keys, isn't it? You get some quality output as long as you get some quality input. So that's important. So at the opening, I'm looking forward to going back and having another look at the plant in operation. It was fantastic to see it before at Dalton, and looking forward to going having another visit and seeing it in action. So thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Moore.
Yeah, just quickly, congratulations to the Bass Strait Museum. Visitations got back to a really great number, so well done on that increase. And also, I concur with my fellow councillors, music on the waterfront. When my 17-year-old wants to leave the house and go out with his friends for a council event, I was very impressed. And how many food trucks were there? So many. So well done to the organisers. And you're right, Councillor Murphy, we all have our pet peeves and our pet things. Facebook posts this month were of really great things that make sense for Devonport Council to be communicating. So our win for Haynes Park, our top tourism town, music on the waterfront. So well done to whoever is pushing out those Facebook posts.
Thank you. Councillor Wilczynski.
Thank you, Mayor. Just the event, seeing a lot of people going around the city prior to the opening. Like, so people were in the city walking around with, I saw a lot of families. So I think it was like preparing to go to the event. So well done, everyone. And it would be remiss of me not to mention the FOGO. I was out at the opening, very exciting to be involved, and what a wonderful initiative. It is for Devonport or Dulverton, where the full councils are involved in that, and less in landfill has to be good for everyone, and great for the environment, and hoping we've got other things coming forward for environmentally friendly solutions. So well done. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things, if I may. Social recovery, Mersey Leaving Emergency Management Committee, flood mitigation. There was previous mention of installation of flood warning monitor water level devices. Gave a warning about increased water levels coming down the river. I just mentioned that if it's still being introduced, because I had a note to ask to expand on TAS Alert application. Do you have any information on that.
Ms. Lunt?
Through you, Mayor. We'll take that one on notice, Councillor Martin, as to exactly where the census are going. And the second part, can you just repeat the second part of your question?
I was looking to expand on the TAS Alert app, what it is.
Yeah, so
Application.
TAS Alert app is something that any member of the public can download through the state government. All the warnings for various things, whether they be weather warnings, flood warnings, all get fed through that app. Subsequent early notification for residents.
Thank you. Furthermore, Bass Strait Maritime Centre, yes, I noticed an increase in numbers. It's great to see. The trade lines club got a mention there. There's probably why. Probably need a typo there to correct. As far as the light show and music on the water, a terrific event, it certainly shows that Devonport has a new attraction. Not only will attract locals to see what the council's investing in on their behalf, but also to attract intra and interstate and maybe international visitors to the area to not only dine and wine themselves and then just wander across and watch a fabulous slideshow that is unique to Devonport. Finally, with that, it's great to see the attractions and the conduction of cultural and sporting events in Devonport, and just like to convey my congratulations to all clubs and organisations involved in operating those events, and of course the efforts of our council staff and management. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hollister, did you go?
It's page 16. There's a, I think it's probably called a leaf sign, and it's got Tabor Road on the top of it. There's a Don River Rail Trail, which I'm presuming goes up behind the Don Fall, follows the river, and then it's also got on the bottom Kelsey Tier Trails. I'm just wondering when the actual point is.
Through you, Mayor, that sign is at the new parking bays along Tabor Road at the access point to the Kelsey cycling road.
So that links back down to the Don Trail somewhere.
Yes, you continue down Tabor Road to the new rail trail that exits closer to the bottom of the Tabor Road.
Missed that.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, certainly. The music on the waterfront on Saturday night, I think we've proven a point that it doesn't matter rain, hail or shine. People will go to things if it's done well, and the staff did a remarkable job. Everybody that was involved, it was amazing. You can't stop the weather, but at the end of the day, you're right, Councillor Ennis, how many people stopped and said thank you was just phenomenal, and it's still happening today. And to see how that area can be used and how it is evolving is really, really great. I'd love to do a survey to see how many restaurants and pubs benefited from it. I know I went to one early that night, 5:30 packed, and so many people were saying that they were going on to the music event, which is really, really nice to see. So I think the ramifications there. I've got a great photo of the Novotel with all the people up on the balcony. Like, it's huge, and to get a crowd there and everyone having a lovely time. The bands were really impressed with our staff and how everything was set up. So huge kudos to the staff and everything that they did, and all the people behind the scenes. A lot of things go into making these free events. I will just point that out. Nothing's free. It cost quite a lot of money to put on. However, it was great for the community to benefit from that. So we'll just point that out. Nothing's free, but what a great event. The band just loved it. Thank goodness they could get here because they almost didn't get their flights in. Oh, my goodness. With that stupid blue screen thing that was going on. And then the sound and light show is available for everybody to go and see from now on. 7 o'clock it starts, Mr. Skirving, correct? A couple of times a night now, 2 or 3 times a night, which will be great. 365 days a year. So please go and do yourself a favour. Don't just see it from afar. Go in and immerse yourself into it too, because it's really worth your while. And on that note, I will ask Councillor Varney to close, please.
Thank you, Mayor. As Councillor Moore's just pointed out to me, I actually left plenty of meat on the bone there for everybody to find something. And honestly, I'm the monthly operation report used to be quite dry, and now I think I've turned it into my favourite item on the agenda because it has become just a celebration of everything that is happening in the community and that the council provides, that a lot of the time might go unnoticed. So just thanks for all the other councillors for their contribution. I will go back to a couple of things. The sound and light, if you're opening on Friday night, I mentioned the weather was heinous. What I remiss of me to mention was that the Premier was there, the Leader of the Opposition was there, a couple of state members, a couple of federal members, maybe one and a senator or two senators. I mean, that's quite a turnout for a little, dare I say, backwater country town to have a little light show. It's tongue in cheek because there's no room for negativity and curse words in this segment of the show anymore. So it's great. I mean, it's almost the place to be seen. Obviously, being Tasmanian, you dress for the weather. There's no such thing as bad weather. It's just bad preparation, and people deal with it. And I will just go back on one point with the FOGO. I think what Devonport's done well, it might have been lost in other neighbouring municipalities in the messaging, is that there seems to be this misinterpretation that somehow FOGO has cost all this extra money, but it's actually the increase in the landfill levy that's caused an increase in the garbage collection. And as we know around this table, the net cost of FOGO was pretty close to neutral. So I think Devonport's communicated that very well, and I think I've been able to remind other municipalities that isn't the case, that FOGO is costing their rates more. There's a lot of other factors at play. And I will finish on just one final point, that agreeing with Councillor Ennis over there, that you have to be in the pit, like in the front and centre of a show, of a live music event, to really appreciate it. And I've found that the higher you are with acoustics, it kind of gets pretty ordinary up there. So while it may have been a bit drier, the atmosphere and the actual quality of the music, 20 metres in the mud at the front, was probably where it was, where you needed to be. And I'll close on that. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Councillor Viney. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Goodness for that. Item 7, we're moving into the closed session. If I could have a mover, please. Councillor Murphy, thank you, and a seconder.
Second.
Councillor Ennis, thank you.
Merely procedural, Mayor.
Yes, thank you. Councillor Ennis.
Nothing further.
All good. Any further comments from the councillors? Councillor Murphy.
Consider it closed.
Close. Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you for all those that attended in the gallery. Lovely to see you all. Thank you, staff. And we'll move into closed session very, very shortly.
Please, no need,